consciousness, it wasn't real quick.
One matrix is everything. It is all the
aliens were like, come on. Our DNA was split, dude, from the fucking Anunnaki.
By the process of elimination, you might determine that we are probably being visited.
Well, you know, maybe some of them did really have some kind of experience or saw something. And
the aliens are like telepathic. I don't even believe this.
From saying extraterrestrials are related to UFOs.
You could potentially come to the same conclusion. It is the veil that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What's up, everyone?
What up?
What on? Hey.
It has been a minute. Thank you, Star Wars Dog, Chris, Rob, Steezo, the regular folk we have hanging around here normally. I'm pretty excited for this one. There was a lot to unpack from this congressional hearing, not in the sense of, you know, new information or whatnot, but
not like meat and potatoes, but
yeah, exactly. A lot. Once you sit through the bullshit, there were a few really, I think, a few main points I wanted to take away from it. I don't know if all of you, I know Steezo and Chris, and I think Rob, you watched a little bit. I'm not sure, Jim, did you get to catch any of the hearing?
Nope, I'm going to be fresh ears on this. So.
Yeah, well, we got a bunch of different clips and stuff that we're going to play. Just first, I don't know, for those who watched it, you want to, you know, tell everyone what you thought about the hearing. I personally thought it was kind of a nothing burger for the most part, but there were just, like I said, a few things that I wanted to take from it.
Well, I mean, I didn't stick around for the whole thing. I had it on the background.
Yeah.
I did learn something new, something called Immaculate Constellation.
Yeah, Constellation. Yeah, we're going to talk about
I kept hearing that over and over and over again. I was like, what the hell is she talking about? So if we get into that, I'm super intrigued into what that is.
Yeah.
She warned multiple times that just saying that is going to put them on a list.
Well, I typed it into ChatGPT initially, and it was like confused, and took me to some like Roman Catholic thing, explanation. Yeah, I was just like, "What the hell? This is not what I'm asking." So I'm I don't know. Anytime these things come out, I get kind of it's just what do you call it? Wag the dog type of thing. Like, hey, look at this. Well. Crazy shit's going on.
I think it's part of that, and I also think they're trying to throw people that are into this stuff a bone, but they're not really telling us anything new. That's part of the issue I have with them. Steezo, did you get to catch any of this stuff?
So I didn't get to watch a lot of it. I watched highlights and the bullet points. I read up on the bullet points today on my lunch break, and I watched a couple clips and stuff. A lot of the stuff I kind of was aware of. I was hoping for a lot more, though. I was really hoping for like an actual examples or cases, like dates that you usually get from like when you watch the shows or some documentary or whatever. But I didn't get that. But I know there was some stuff like, I mean, Lou Elizondo, he went up there and he spoke and you know, I saw that one video or that documentary he was in not too long ago. He seemed really like he was really trying to push across stuff he's been wanting to say for a long time, but I don't feel like there was any sort of like anything in there that was like, you know, I felt like the first one where they had you know, Grush and David Fravor and all those, I felt that was more compelling information and stuff to me than this one.
All Elizondo wants to do is sell his fucking book.
That's what I got.
Push disinformation. That's it.
Little salesman activity.
And since we're on this topic already, let's just jump into the meat of the first portion, and that's who these different people are. We're about to go through a whole bunch of different clips on this, but so you had Dr. Galladay. I think he was a doctor. Galladay, I believe is his name. You had Louis Elizondo, who we were just discussing. I think he's a total industry plant, to say frankly. He's going around all these different podcasts right after the first hearing. No one knew his name. All of a sudden, he's in this space.
Right.
Everyone knows who he is. He gets on the second hearing. I think there's just a lot of snake oil salesmen going on there.
And he's the only one out of the four of them that just gets ridiculously grilled by people on the stand up there. So
And then we have Michael Schellenberger, who I think is the only one up on that stand today that actually has an ounce of integrity and honesty. If you guys are familiar with the Twitter files and you watched that hearing a few years ago, you'll know he's an honest reporter. He's actually doing the work, and you can see you're going to see that in a lot of these clips. And a lot of the times when they were asked as a group, they were asked a question. Those three other guys, the other one's Gold. He has a NASA background. All those other guys, they would have these long couple sentence answers. And most of the time, Schellenberger would just say, I don't know, or I'm not sure about this. I can't answer that, which I think shows the integrity in itself, right? It speaks for itself in that sense.
Right.
So I'm going to pull up, well, Jim, I see you have something there. You want to, hey, what's up, Matthew? Did you want to pull that up quickly? I see you have something there.
Well, no, I just have it open just to bring up if I find something interesting.
So, let me share this.
Now, I'll say for me, the couple of clips that I did see, that yes, perfect. That Nancy Mace is a congressional MVP. Not only in this,
did a good job.
Not only in this did she have some pretty spectacular moments, but also in the Secret Service hearings as well.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, no, she was an absolute beast in those as well. And I stand firmly by her and would be shocked if she doesn't get a position in the cabinet.
Well, and there were a few really good Congress people. I don't know how to say it, and congressmen, congresswomen. There were a few really good ones today.
Congress folk.
Congress folk. This clip I have up here, I believe it's either post or prior to the actual hearing. So Chris made a good point. It sounds like it was a hot mic, like she didn't know she was being recorded, but I doubt that's the case. But again, sorry for the background noise. If you guys need me to adjust anything, let me know.
When is it?
November 13th.
November 13th.
Yeah, we didn't push it back.
What's the goal of the hearing for you?
Well, again, to have another conversation about this. And for me, it's about government transparency.
Yeah.
How much money and where are we spending this? And then, I want whistleblowers to feel like they can come forward. I want people protected. Every American deserves the right to know how their tax dollars are being spent and what it's being spent on.
And that's really what I wanted to show in this. I think that's what we all kind of want.
Yep.
Especially given the climate that we're in right now. We want is transparency. We're tired of not having that transparency, and especially surrounding this topic, right? Like,
right.
We've said it plenty of times, or I have, that you're crazy to talk about this stuff, even 10 years ago, and then within this decade somehow just more and more. And she even says it during the hearing at one point that, I think she held her phone up, or one of the congresswomen held their phone up and said, we have these things, and it's making it way harder for people to hide the truth now,
Right.
And go ahead.
That's one of the takeaways from this today, regardless of who might be up there pushing bullshit, disinformation. Congress genuinely seems interested in finding out more on this topic.
For sure. So I guess let's pull up. Let's just go into her. She has a good little clip I found.
I had a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
That statement she made there at the end, she said that she wants transparency and that the taxpayers deserve to know how their money is being spent. Generally, I agree. Do you think that there's anything in our society or that our government spends money on that we should probably keep secret from the general public?
I
definitely,
yes,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah. So
I
if
think
it was something like this and there was actual national security issues like our inability to protect the planet,
right,
that they should keep that shit secret, or should this all just come out?
I think we have a right to at least know a baseline. So a
for sure.
baseline that, because these programs that, like, the Immaculate Constellation, the ATIP program, I know there's a few other ones that I'm not remembering, but they haven't even come out and said these programs are real, right? And they're kind of, I think, just gaslighting us right now. Again, we have all this information. They could at least come out and say, look, we don't really know what these things are, but they are there, and that's what the whistleblowers are doing, the people in the government,
Right.
or the people that have seen these things. But I'm not saying that they need to come out and tell us, oh yeah, we're in contact with another species, especially with a heavy religious culture that we have across all nations, right? So that's just going to fracture people's reality, and I think that really could cause the mass chaos that they claim it would. Now, also in terms of national security, I think you're correct that you don't want to give away too much. Like, oh yeah, we've back engineered this stuff, and then that could cause a whole bunch of other strings of issues, right? But I think we deserve as a people to not get gaslit, right? That it's kind of hard to. Some of these videos are fake, sure, but there are just a plethora of them that are unexplainable. I mean, people have seen things rise out of the ocean, and you've got people in even like Commander Fravor, who are active duty, seeing these things on a regular basis, and then he's being told, not to really talk about it until recently, obviously. So I think you are in the right line of thought. Maybe we shouldn't just be completely transparent about it, but I think a level of acknowledgement would go a long way in terms of trusting the government, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I agree. I always thought that was, that's always the question in some of the movies of First Contact, like, man, that you're going to cause mass hysteria if you just come out and tell people yeah, they've kind of been here for about 20 years.
Yeah.
We've got their tech.
And honestly, by that same token, the longer you hold it, the greater the YouTube censoring. Oh, YouTube is censoring me. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's important that we at least get some sort of acknowledgement. Because there's already a distrust and a disconnect between civilians and government.
No way.
Right.
Yeah.
No way.
Totally trust the government.
I trust
Yeah.
them 100%.
That's right. We got the Doge coming in. We got the Doge coming in, y'all.
Yeah. So let's get into this hearing. I'm going to play the first clip this is from the same Congresswoman Mace.
Is she the first? Isn't she like the first woman to get through West Point or something like that?
I actually don't know much about her.
I'll look that up as we do that.
Thank you, Jamie.
Would you define, each of you, my last question, how would you define non-human biologics, non-human intelligence? What are we actually talking about? Admiral, and we'll go down the line.
I don't think it's a stretch when you look at the diversity of life on this planet and the size of this universe to think that there will be more diverse, higher order, non-human intelligences throughout the universe. And that's probably what's visiting us.
I would take the scientific approach. The definition would be the ability to react to a stimulus in a manner that requires an intellectual thought process.
I just don't know. I think we must be honest in our assumptions.
I love
We're
it.
looking for intelligence that could be biological. It might not.
Non-biological, but what non-biological intelligence? What does that mean, though?
Artificial
AI.
intelligence, ML,
Yeah, AI.
machines. We assume that all intelligence would be like us, and every time we look out in the universe, we are humbled relative to what we don't know in terms of the forms of intelligence and what it may take. I can assure you, I probably can't ask you your question, but I think the ultimate answer is going to surprise us all.
And then Mr. Garcia did a few.
And as much as I distrust that guy already,
That's a very interesting answer. That's a very interesting answer.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point. Oh.
So here's her kind of little overview that I've got here, which is exciting news for me towards the end. But she, Miss Mace, originally dropped out of high school at the age of 17. Her first job was a waitress at the Waffle House. And despite her early setback, she earned her high school diploma and then took
the
classes at
Citadel, yeah.
Trident Technical College, which is, I guess, a branch of the Citadel. First graduates of its Corps Cadets of 1999. Mace then earned her master's degree from the University of Georgia. Go Dogs! How about
She's
that?
Looks like
How about that?
She's an army brat.
Yeah. She was raised by a retired Army general.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
The Citadel. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, Citadel. Yep. Master's degree from University of Georgia. Doesn't get better than that, folks.
So that dude's, or I guess our first question was like, what do you mean by non-biological? Is that basically what his question was?
Yeah, because there's been a lot of there have been a lot of rumors flying around lately about how the government in the program we're about to get into, Constellation or Immaculate Constellation, that we've acquired wreckages of UFOs and also biologics. And if you're familiar with the Brazil case, I don't know if you are or not, but that's one of the stories that James Fox broke. And apparently, the story ends with the U.S. government actually taking, I believe, 2 bodies of these supposed or alleged extraterrestrials back from Brazil back to the U.S. And so there's a bunch of these different kind of stories. Where
That's the Virginia incident.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And so
There's
it's just one of those kind of, I think one of those things that they wanted to touch on just to see what these other folk had to say, specifically Elizondo.
Matt Tween makes a good point there. We have non-human intelligence on our own planet.
Yeah.
Apes, all sorts of things. Octopus, yeah. I'm pretty sure that should be octopi, but yes.
Octopuses. So and that is interesting because like there are actually a lot of there are like a lot of like astrophysicists that believe the same thing, that these UFOs could be like an ancient or an ancient civilization way off in the galaxy that or very well maybe has died out already, and they had just gotten so advanced where they could send out AI like drones, to go and collect information, and they're sending it back to a database that's no longer being looked at or anything, So
I think the hardest setback for this topic, as far as comprehension of the possibilities, and it kind of ties with ancient civilization, if you subscribe to that as well, is we're trying to apply modern technologies,
Or just modern
hurdles that we have to
modern principles on societies.
Correct.
Yeah.
That too. Yep. But we got to consider that this may be a completely different, like something that just hasn't been discovered by our intellect yet.
And
we're looking at it with a completely different, wrong set of eyes when it's something that could be hundreds of thousands, millions of years old.
And I think where the biggest issue with why we're even having these hearings and it's not open to, or that people become overly skeptical where they're not even willing to accept the possibility, is that they're viewing it through a lens of what the limit of our understanding is, right? As when it comes to science, physics, all this other stuff. So there's no way, that's how they always try to discount it. Well, it's just not possible because we can't do that yet. But I mean, that's kind of the point, right? Like why they're so interesting, and why they're even being, looked at by specific groups in the government, at least.
If you saw a plane in the 1600s, you would think that was impossible.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
A machine in the sky, like it's all relative to your understanding of physics and manipulation of your environment.
Yeah, and before we get into the Immaculate Constellation stuff, I kind of want to dig into Elizondo. We've made a video about him before. We've talked about him before. Jim, do you mind quickly pulling up his background? Because I want to make sure we get this right before we start criticizing him a whole bunch.
Okay.
Which one?
Elizondo. He is. Jim will
man.
pull up a picture of him too.
He seemed the most shady of all of them.
Yeah, he
He's
speaks
definitely
in vague terms. He never has
100%.
anything to back up the statements he makes. And when he gets grilled about it, he says, "Oh, I'm not authorized to talk about this."
Do you
It's
have
just-
the footage of him getting grilled?
I do.
Do you have
and
that pulled up ready? Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to give people a background for those who aren't like us and nerd out about this stuff and already know he's a piece of shit.
Here's the wiki.
Sorry, let me pull it up if you mind reading that off.
Yeah, you're good. Luis Elizondo is a media personality and author, formerly employed by the United States Army Counterintelligence in the office.
Right.
In the office
Pause
of the-
there.
Yep.
Counterintelligence.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, you folk in the
Counterintelligence.
military. Explain what that means. Counterintelligence. Like, what are you trained in when you're doing that?
Basically espionage. Am I not right? Yeah. So,
Well, it's basically the opposite of spying is finding the spies, right? Finding the leaks in intelligence and the leaks in your military and your defense, I would assume, and then and exploiting it.
Well, and that's the key thing I wanted to pause there for, because
probably OPSEC too. A lot of OPSEC stuff.
yeah, I mean, like
I mean, you could read into this like he's like a psyops dude, you know.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm implying here.
Yeah,
you know?
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In the office under Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, according to Elizondo, he was director of the now I'm assuming that pretty much defunded Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
And I think that's
ATIP.
Yeah.
Yep, ATIP. Which is associated with the Pentagon's UFO videos. Elizondo's statement about the Pentagon role with ATIP have been contested by the Pentagon officials. Since 2017, he has claimed there is a government conspiracy to suppress evidence that UFOs are of extraterrestrial origins. So yeah. Oh wow, he's a Cuban exile. Whoa.
So let me quickly line this up.
His father was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Skip that part.
57. Okay, cool. So I'm going to start first with just kind of giving you an example of how he kind of vaguely tries to
talks in circles.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, where have we seen that before?
No comment. So this is prior to the next clip I'm going to do, or after the next clip I'm going to play, but
yeah,
it sets the scene.
Has there been any, to your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is we also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace, we scramble two F-22s, and we are certainly communicating intent and capability.
He just overcomplicated this whole question.
We have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace. And they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our
such a non-answer
and our nuclear readiness.
Has there been?
Shut your mouth. Shut for 1 second.
This is why we say that he fouls out. You know, he fouls out of the game when he does shit like this.
You're out of here.
What? You know what I'm saying? So he gets asked a question and then goes off on some spiel.
It just convolutes the the potential answer. Like
it's like, what does it mean to communicate?
every
Are we
every fucking
talking-
time.
You know what
Every
it
time he
reminds
does
me?
that shit.
It's a pretty simple word.
I
you know?
came from a middle class family.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
So,
Yes.
bro, thank God we ain't gotta hear that shit no more.
yeah. for
Amen.
real.
Amen.
So
I'm gonna miss
this
it.
this is great because this guy fucking wrecked him. I'll just play the clip. I'm not gonna fill it.
Hold on, you gotta set the stage for this dude.
It is
So
stored in this.
Okay.
this guy was a fill-in, right?
I don't actually know.
Yeah. So the guy that he was supposed to that he's filling in for is the guy I think that has cancer or something that they were all talking about at the beginning.
Right.
So when I saw this guy, I was like, "What is this little freaking Poindexter tweet?
Yeah.
You know, twerp gonna do?" And I was just like,
He's like an
shocked. I was like,
ex-lawyer.
Did you just
Yeah,
almost
like an
call him a
ex-lawyer.
twink?
No, Poindexter, little twerp.
No, he went hard on Elizondo, which I'm totally here for because I think he saw through the bullshit that Elizondo is
Right.
doing. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he lawyer. I know he's a lawyer. He'll explain that
on
right
for
now.
a second. You said you signed a document. Love that.
You gotta go back some.
Who gave that to you?
The U.S. government, sir.
You're right. You're right.
U.S. government, huh?
Well, saying that the Earth doesn't rotate, or the Earth rotates around the sun, or the sun doesn't rotate around the Earth. It's always challenging
So
for new beliefs. And the more extraordinary those discoveries, then the more extraordinary those new beliefs, it's very difficult. So I think this is natural. There's natural conservatism that when it comes to science, but this issue in particular has been very difficult where, again,
Appreciate that. Mr. Elizondo, did I have that correct?
Sir.
I'm a recovering lawyer, so I'm going to put my hat on for a second. You said you signed a document. Love that. Who gave that to you?
The U.S. government, sir.
Okay, you have a copy of it?
It is stored in a SCIF right now. I do not have possession of it. The U.S. government does.
What department of the U.S. government gave you this document?
I will say the Department of Defense. Unfortunately, I can't say in this forum much more than that.
You specifically said the document said you can't talk about crash retrieval. Well, you know, you can't talk about Fight Club if there's no Fight Club.
Come on, you motherfucker. Oh, shit. God
Making an observation.
Yes, sir.
So that document that you signed, that you said exists, specifically said you can't talk about crash retrieval.
Correct, sir. It was a limitation on what because already I'd been speaking publicly about the topic. And so the document said you can continue saying X, Y, Z, but you cannot discuss the topic.
When you
of crash
give me the atmosphere of signing this document. You're in a room by yourself?
I'm in a SCIF with a security officer, sir.
Just one-on-one? Anybody else?
There may have been an assistant as well. It was in a SCIF within a Department of Defense facility.
Give me your background real quick.
My background is I went to school to study microbiology and immunology, entered into the U.S. Army, and after a very short stint in military intelligence, I became a counterintelligence special agent. As a civilian, later on I became a special agent in charge, running investigations in counterterrorism and counterespionage primarily, with some experience in counterinsurgency and counter-narcotics. And then in 2009 timeframe, when I came back to the Pentagon after a tour with the Director of National Intelligence, I quickly became part of a program that was originally called OSAP that evolved into the program now called ATIP, which is where those videos that we now see, the Go Fast, the Gimbal, the FLIR, that was part of our effort, sir.
Right. So you're not some conspiracy theorist. You actually have a legitimate background.
Well, sir, I'm certainly not a conspiracy theorist. I'm fact-based, just a fact.
So when you're in this room, I want to paint the picture for everybody. You're in this room, you're by yourself, you're in a SCIF, you're handed a document. How long is the document?
It's about a page front and back. So basically you have some things they call trigraphs, which I cannot, again, talk to.
How long were you given to sign the document?
As long as I needed, sir.
And
I,
what if you didn't?
Fucking grilling him.
Well, I suspect there'd be repercussions. I wouldn't have access to certain information.
Were you allowed to ask a lawyer, or weren't allowed to ask for a lawyer to review the document?
It wasn't an option, but they probably wouldn't have allowed me to, because the document itself is pretty explicit about you have to be, putting me in an interest. Let me try to thread the needle here. There are certain.
Did he say there
documents that
was
we have
or
in the US
wasn't an
government
option?
that allow people?
There was an option.
Wasn't or was?
Was.
Oh, okay.
People to have access to certain programs. whether it's a special, and I'm going to be very generic here, whether it's a special access program
no
or a
shit.
controlled access program, SAP, CAP, whatnot.
How many people have to sign that document?
It depends how many people are going to get access to the information, sir.
Okay. Last question, doctor.
So why I wanted to play that is he gave him zero breathing room. And what I loved the way his tactic was as a lawyer was he kind of sets the stage for people there listening, you know, and asks the guy, tries to get the guy to say direct details, then asks him about his background, you know, and kind of does the whole thing we had done prior to talking about him, and then continues to ask questions in specific detail and looking for specific answers. And when he couldn't give any, you could kind of see he's starting to break down a bit at the end there, right? Again, I think this guy is a total snake oil salesman.
If you fast forward this guy, as soon as he begins, you can see the manipulation mastery that goes on.
Oh,
like
you said fast forward. You said fast forward.
As soon as this guy starts, he sets the stage by belittling this guy. Everybody knows his name is Elizondo, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "It's Elizondo, right?" So in other words, you're not really that important.
Right.
And then he asks him, "You signed what, a form?" Like, and he just makes him feel unimportant and kind of belittles him the entire questioning. I thought that was excellent.
It was hilarious. Me and Chris were dying in Discord. We were fucking laughing our asses off.
I think we probably don't know this, but I'm just assuming these guys know who's going to be on as far as like the panel and who's going to speak. And I think he got someone to do a little dirt background check on Elizondo. And maybe they probably basically it came out. It's like, hey, look, this guy might be full of disinformation. If he might be part of that dark government we're trying to expose and the disinformation. We need to grill the shit out of him. And he probably said, "Get me in, I'll do it." I guarantee you. It's just like, you know what I mean? Because like, they're trying to get to the bottom of it. And what they're trying to do. That's what I got too out of that George Knapp doc was that he kept on saying, the window's closing. We're doing these Congress thing, but they keep getting resistance and push back and stuff. And so the window's closing to get some sort of disclosure. And I think that's what's happened is like, well, what's the point if we're not going to get any cooperation? We're not going to get new information. Why are we going to keep doing these hearings? And I think that's what they're trying to do. And so I think he had the reason why he went after Lou like that was kind of like, look, dude, put up or shut up. You need to either come correct with some information or you're just a waste of time to come here and sit down because we already know this.
There's multiple times too where he references his book. Lou references all the important information being in his book. It's like, Jesus, bro, come on.
You're out of here.
What? Even his book, though, even his book, though. Like, I haven't read his book, but I know people that have read it, and I've read the reviews on it. And the guys on there were saying basically there's nothing new in there that's like, that's groundbreaking. Like, there's nothing on there that says that shows like there's any more evidence than what we've already been told. And that's what we need to have. It's like, we've heard about the crash retrievals. We've heard about, the reverse engineering programs. We've heard about the dozens of freaking, bodies that we have. We've heard about all the different countries that are having this and stuff and evidence, but like, okay, so let's see some examples. You got, they got more footage. I guess there's more compelling footage. Let's see the full videos. Like they said, they had the full video of that whole jellyfish video where it actually goes into a lake. There's the more of that video of the U.S. Navy and radar footage of the contacts with the gimbal video all correlates together. Why can't we see that? It exists. It's been acknowledged.
And that's a lot about what Schellenberger brings up, and talks about the database that they have. And when connecting back to Elizondo, I think he
didn't he just get called out for that fake picture at one of his paid speaking?
Yeah, he did, and he course corrected and whatnot. But I think he's bullshitting for the most part. And I think this guy, Moskowitz, I think he I think, Rob, you had said something similar that the guy must have known who he was prior to this. You know, he completely walked in there and set him up and walked him into a corner and didn't let him back up. You know, and when he couldn't express what he was looking for, you know, what the answers that Moskowitz was looking for, Moskowitz just kind of like hands up and was like, all right, you know, we're done, you know, moved on. But he showed everyone that the guy's kind of a fraud. And
he was asking very simple questions, and the guy was providing like overly complex answers right at the beginning. And then he's mentioning like, what is this form they're talking about? Just a non-disclosure?
Yeah.
Okay, so non-disclosure. And then he talks about trigraphs. Like, what the hell's a trigraph? You know,
well, yeah,
like,
and
you sign a non-disclosure. It's the standard non-disclosure. I imagine they're all kind of similar. Like, you don't have to overcomplicate what a non-disclosure is. Like,
well,
they've got trigraphs, but I can't really talk about it. Really, you can't talk about a form.
And he's asking about what he didn't even say specifically what was on that non-disclosure. He just asked what were the contents of this non-disclosure. Oh, I'm not authorized to say that. You know, this is a highly secured SCIF. I'm not, you know, I haven't gotten clearance to talk about that publicly. And
what about? Go ahead.
No, go on.
I would say, what about this though too? When he talked about when he was trying to bring an example up, and he was like, you know, if a Russian plane gets too close to the border, we scramble F-22s. Oh, really? So you're worried about that? You're going to talk about our operational procedures and what happens? I mean, you're just going to disclose that. All right.
And that, I wish I had that clip. I'm not going to sit here and try to dig for it, but specific, just to give context to that, they were asked, I forget which Congress person asked, but they said, what is, you know, why do you guys think there's a like an overdoing of classification? And his answer was, well, look at the Cold War, you know, and the U-2 bomber and what happened during that, and started bringing up all these different other scenarios within the government where they had to be extremely careful with classification, and just completely disregarded the answer or the question, you know, and just started rambling about other, like Manhattan Project, like started bringing up things within the Manhattan Project.
He
like,
always does that, bro. He's so good at just fucking circling and just rambling.
And so let me ask, because I was talking about this backstage with Chris and Stezo. I have a question for Jim and Rob. What do you think about this theory? I think that this guy, because we've seen him all over the internet around this kind of space and topic lately, especially today after the hearing. All you saw on Twitter, most like over 50% of the clips that you would see involved Luis Elizondo. And given his background, like, and I know this is full tinfoil hat, but I'm thinking that these part of the reason why they're having these hearings is they're trying to give folks like us, you know, they're dangling the carrot and being like, look, we have all this stuff. There's a little bit of an essence of that happening where, you know, they're trying to just throw us a bone. But I think he might be like placed in this situation for actual information. And maybe a handful of these Congress people asking the questions at the hearing knew that and almost are directed to kind of focus in on him so that he can talk more than the other three people on the panel, and to kind of, again, throw out the disinformation and to kind of stir the pot with information that's just maybe half true, but he's going to spin it in a certain way. I know that's full kind of crazy.
I don't think it's that complicated, man. I think if anything, the government just sees him as a useful idiot. Even if the general public starts to get close to knowing something, they can just let this guy run free. And they will just say, they think there, Elizondo, he's at it again. And they will neither confirm nor deny. And everybody's just like, oh, you know, did you see the hearing? Oh, Elizondo again. Okay. And here we are. And the government's like, we didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. He's had disinformation attached to his name since he popped up in the UFO community years ago. He's always had it attached to him.
Yeah, so I don't think he's a plant, but he is definitely a useful tool to to keep the general public just kind of like totally in the dark. But I think that it was great when this guy just started hammering him just to prove how stupid he is. Like, Oh, it's really great stuff, and you can either read my book, but I can't really talk about it because it's classified.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's in
right,
your
buddy.
book? Just a whole bunch of you saying that it's
I can't
classified?
talk about it.
Yeah.
Can't talk about it.
So thanks for getting the book, but you can't read it. It's all redacted.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of blacked
Bunch
out
of black
lines.
lines. Anybody who bought the book gets it and opens it up and just
Oh, make you want to kick a fat kid at Kmart. You know what I'm saying? Praise God, baby.
Man, these these and the last ones, like, they just don't make you feel great. Like I'm still, skeptical about it. Obviously, I enjoy doing these streams and talking about the possibilities of these kind of things, but there's nothing for sure that's ever come to light. There's a lot of very intriguing stories, of course, but these hearings are just they don't do anything for me. They just they almost
there's not a whole lot to them.
They
Not a whole
seem
lot
to
to them.
flush out a lot of wackos and a lot of people that and maybe that's a tribute to there is something going on here, but it's just I don't get any substance from these, man. They're just
They don't provide any
aggravating.
evidence. Like there's no it just like you said, it's stories, but like the hardcore evidence, like where if they were to sit there talking and said, okay, let's watch this video, and you see the video land and you see these watch figures walk out, like high resolution video that and it's time, date, and stamped, and they can go ahead and show some of that stuff or some high resolution of these crafts, and then some other stuff to correlate it, then you'd be like, wow, that's pretty compelling. But it's like sometimes you still watch these videos, and I get more out of like the videos that I see on YouTube or Twitter than I do actually listen to people talk. I don't know.
Well, I think the idea of it is the fact that these people are here saying this stuff under oath, so people can point to, oh, they're under oath though. They're under oath and they're saying so. It's
because lying under oath is never happened ever before.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this. The beauty of this is you can't prove them wrong without actually being transparent. So like they can lie all they want. The only way to catch them in a lie is being transparent and say, look, this is what it really is. This guy's full of shit, but they're not going to do that.
Well, and Rob, when we were chatting in Discord earlier today when this was live, you brought up a good point about the whistleblower protection thing, and I think that's pretty important, and that got passed, right? Like that. So why aren't we again? And that's why I think there's also another level of control happening here, where even though it's passed, we still haven't gotten any of the really important people coming forward yet, in the government, and are quite frankly probably scared to do so. I'm sure if you're in a certain position, you're going to lose your whole career. You could lose your pension over something like this. But isn't that the whole point, that you're protected?
Yeah, but even if you're protected, you're still out there. Once it's done and over,
people could find a reason that's not related to that to remove you. Yeah.
And you could get blacklisted in a sense where you come out, you might not get any legal action, but all of a sudden you can't find work, or you're not getting assigned to certain things, and your career.
Yeah, it's a career killer.
ending. Yeah,
it's career killer. Yeah, and you don't want to end up with being suicide and have two bullet shots to the back of your head.
Oh, you mean getting Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, exactly.
Suicide by Clinton.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Like those guys are still they'll even say
is stream still up, by the way?
Yeah, it is.
No.
Right. What's that noise? It's like and then but you got people that are still scared, man. They were scared before. Not everybody is there are a lot of people reluctant to go ahead and just jump out there and to say, hey, I got some information, even if it's been years or decades, because I feel like they don't want to even get their family involved. And I can totally understand that,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you had a whistleblower who had legitimate stuff to bring to light, and he sat down with like 10 congressmen, right? All 10 of them, and hey, we're recording this. Everybody's getting a tape. Everybody's being on camera, and we're all in on this. And then let this come out. We're all kind of implicated in this. You all know what's going on, and then you all make a public statement. Then maybe, but if it's like a lone whistleblower who goes in secret to which I understand the secrecy need, but it goes to a congressman and says, hey, this is what's going on. And then it's just between this one congressperson and the whistleblower, and the congressperson is like, man, I'm not touching this. Yes, he came to me, didn't find any credible whatever, and it just goes nowhere. So that, like, for true transparency, you like, there's got to be more than just a whistleblower and the single point of
Yeah, and we'll get into it when we get into the Michael Schellenberger thing, but he was kind of asked about that from I think Congresswoman Mace, and she kind of asked about the different whistleblowers, and he said something along the lines of that he would he wishes that more of them come forward to him, and he would go to prison before he releases their name. But that kind of defeats the purpose of this whole hearing, right? Because like you said, when you're at a single point of transparency and you don't have the sources to back it up, I mean, he has the sources, but he's not willing to give them. And I understand that's a career killer for him as a journalist. Like, you're not going to come out and just,
out your sources.
That all of a sudden you're discredited as a journalist because you're not trustworthy. So that's kind of a catch-22 for him. But at the end of the day, I agree with what you're saying that, when you only have a single point of transparency, it kind of defeats the purpose of all these hearings. And I guess we'll see, hopefully these evolve into something more, in terms of each hearing. Like you said, maybe by the fifth one that they do, if it gets that far, or the fifth or sixth, that there's a group for a specific like sighting, like within the military, like the situation like Commander Fravor, where you've got multiple levels of military personnel that are all coming forward and speaking at the same time, and kind of create that pact between each other to almost protect each other, so not anyone's just caught in the dust, so that's really where I think, where I hope that this ends up going, down
I think the longer it goes, the better chance there is of that happening.
Yeah, I agree. This is only the second one, and I think we're lucky to even get a second one. And it also is vindicating in a sense that we're even having these, especially being this deep into it as we are. Like, again, I'm just like tired of being looked at as a psycho for like even giving this time of day.
Yeah.
Another issue with the whistleblower too is the compartmentalization of everything too. So you have, like, for example, the Navy guys who saw the, I don't know, if it's Navy or Air Force, whatever it is. So like,
it was David Fravor.
So if you're the pair of eyes, or you and your military buddy sees this phenomenon, and you have video and you report it to higher, it's not like you're going to be following up with your command on like, hey, what was that thing that we saw? Can we help with the investigation? So like the compartmentalization, like the evidence capture is at one place. It's escalated to the chain of command. That chain of command is going to pass it off to some kind of investigative team. That investigative team is going to pass it. So no one's going to have the full picture ever.
Right.
And it's probably designed that way.
And
oh, hell yeah, definitely.
To your point, Rob, that happened in 2017 and didn't break until like 2020. It was like 3 years old by the time it actually got to the public eyes. And he even mentions, I think, during
David Fravor. I think that was 2004, bro.
Yeah, when it happened.
I'm thinking of the other guy, James, because who was the other guy in that first hearing? There was another pilot. There's one that, because there's
I know
two.
Who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's the Tic Tac, and then there's the Go Fast.
Right.
I
Fravor
believe
was the one off of San Diego, and the other guy was from off the coast of Virginia. He was from the Atlanta group.
So it was one, and sorry for not getting this exactly correct, folks who are watching, But one of the point being, this stuff, and I believe it was Fravor's story, regardless of the date. He said that he saw this. He gets debriefed after, like he got called in to debrief the situation and talk about it. And then he said for about a year, nothing after that. Like, didn't hear anything about it. He told his superiors, and then it was just, continue on with his day-to-day for about a year. And then I forget what happened after that. He might have been asked to, I think then he got called to do the Congress hearing and it, but he wasn't out, talking about it or anything. He just got a call because he told his superiors, and then it got word to Congress, and then they called him in, and that's when he started getting more open about it a little bit before that. But again, it just goes to show, like, to what you were talking about, that, there's compartmentalism, and, there's probably between branches, there's most definitely a disconnect, and people don't always have the full story. And you guys want to add to that, or should I play this clip?
I'll go for
it. It depends on what she does. Is this a opera house video, or is this just
movie theater?
Is this the movie theater?
I think I've seen this intro before.
If it's the movie theater, I'm down.
I have many questions I want to get to. Are there any known instances of recovered materials or technologies that are not of human origin and maybe connected to any advanced bioscience defense programs within the USG?
I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to answer that, ma'am.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, so there are
Struck
rumors
out.
that have come up to the Hill
Hold on.
of
Hold
a
on. Pause
secretive
it, pause it, pause it.
project.
That was a good question too.
The question is, the question. So, do we have? Can you verify if there's proof of aliens? Have we got their technology? Are we using their technology? Like, of course, no one's going to answer this stupid damn question.
Yeah.
And so everybody answers appropriately. Like, I don't know. And then the one freaking Elizondo, I'd tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. I couldn't tell you. Just say, I don't know.
What do you think, Antonio?
He's no good.
No, the one I was gonna play, Jim, was
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
I just reorganized all your clips.
Oh my god, that was great. All right, rewind it. That was funny.
yeah.
Both on the UAP issue, on JFK, but I think it's
My mind often, so why not just keep
Hold
the
on.
list, put us on a list, and Pentagon's Immaculate Constellation program could. Thank you, Madam Chair. Now that we have all been cautioned in this committee hearing that the mention of Pentagon's Immaculate Constellation program could put us on a list, well, I already find myself on many lists, I'm sure. So I speak my mind often, so why not just keep going with it? May as well just go all out and say it. The earth is flat, birds are government drones, and we've never set on foot on the moon, and Joe Biden received 81 million votes in the 2020 election.
Oh, geez.
So,
Wow.
how many
Wow.
get
I would. I would definitely take shots at her at a bar.
Do that. Wow.
on here today? But Mr. Schellenberger, I wanted to ask you, I think I understand from this hearing that you would agree that classifying information like this is not in the best interest of the people. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, with the caveat that, of course, I would support classification necessary to protect secrets essential to national security, but I think it's pretty obvious that there's overclassification.
Overclassification, yes. And so in most instances, if they can't tell us what, do you think at some point they'll at least tell us why?
President-elect Trump has repeatedly committed to greater transparency, both on the UAP issue, on JFK files, on COVID origins, and many other things. So I think that we need to make sure that the next administration is held accountable for that.
Agreed. And this is for all four of you. Yes or no, please. I have many questions I want to get to. Are there any known instances of an origin by?
I wouldn't be able to answer that, ma'am.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, so there are rumors that have come up to the Hill of a secretive project within the Department of Defense involving the manipulation of human genetics with what is described as non-human genetic material, potentially for the enhancement of human capabilities, hybrids. Are any of you familiar with that? Yes or no?
I'll participate in that.
I am not, ma'am.
I'm not.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So I want to.
That's a heavy ass question, bro.
Yeah, you guys all
that's a
thought about it,
crazy
right?
fucking question.
Yeah.
That's out there. That's out there. Let's just go down the line. First of all, I don't. If you follow the Bob Lazar story, which I pretty much believe, but they talk about having
Extremely compelling.
Yeah, he talks about seeing some sort of a being in that area S1. I guess what I'm asking, huh?
She's basically asking if we're splicing alien and human DNA together. Is that what she's getting at?
And it also makes me think that Billy Carson's reach is going out further than what we you know. Okay, let's maybe ground it a little bit more. You know, you got they can cross. Like, I think the technology of genetics is really not out there to the public, but they're able to clone things. If you like Alex Jones, he talks about like pig and human hybrids that they've been trying to work on. You know, I've looked it up with China. They
tried that back in World War II. The Yahtzees tried that as well. They tried to make super soldiers. They literally tried to do Captain America shit.
Well, and China has successfully crossed human and monkey DNA, which, even though it's like pretty much the same, but they did cross a human and a monkey, and it was alive for like something like minutes, and then it died. But I kind of want to know what you guys think about that question with the crossing. If there is splicing of, you know, if we even have a ET, like,
yeah.
I mean, it's such a wild question. I have no.
Can you play?
No
can
doubt.
You play can you play it one more time?
I have no doubt why everyone answered the way they did. But let's replay.
I am not, ma'am.
I'm not.
Any of you familiar with that? Of human geneticization of human secret. So there are rumors that have come up to the Hill of a secretive project within the Department of Defense involving the manipulation of human genetics with what is described as non-human genetic material, potentially for the enhancement of human capabilities, hybrids. Are any of you familiar with that? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
I am not, ma'am.
I'm not.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I would like to know.
Okay, so I spoke my piece. Jim, just start. What do you think about that question? And
yeah, I think you nailed it. Kind of a very loaded question, of course, but I mean, what are they supposed to say? Even if they know,
right.
I highly doubt they're able to declassify.
Right. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of that one. That one's crazy.
And also, perhaps they're not even remotely,
no one's going to say anything
involved
about that.
with anything like that.
Even if they knew something, yeah.
So y'all dug a little bit. What kind of involvement do a lot of these guys have, like as far as these programs go? Because we talked about what that guy did before, and he was counterintelligence for the Army and everything else. But what's his level of involvement with this kind of shit? Why is he on the Hill testifying? What is he supposed to know because of the position he's in? I'm confused about the positions.
So okay, just finish up Elizondo. He was the head of the ATIP program, and since that's no more, he's been going on all these podcasts, but he's mentioned in different podcasts that he's now a consultant of some sort for the government, which is shady, first of all. And then with
anything.
Yeah, exactly. With Golligart, I forgot his name. Golligart, the guy on the left. Do you guys remember his name?
Dr. Gouliard. Oh, I got it right here.
Yeah,
Gallaudet.
Unless you want to keep the video rolling, back up to where we see all four of them, so we can.
Gallaudet.
Yeah, that's actually a good call.
Dr. Gallaudet is former commander of the fleet forces, I guess.
Yeah, he was in the Navy, correct?
Yeah.
And then we've talked about Schellenberger. He's an investigative journalist. And then Mr. Gold here on the right, he comes from NASA. So one of the biggest reasons why I just don't trust him. And he talking about how.
But doing supposedly what with NASA? Do we know?
I actually don't know. Let me quickly look that up. Mr. Gold.
He could be a sanitation specialist for all we know.
NASA.
So the question basically asks if we're using human genetics and mixing it or
splicing
with non-human material.
Right. For the enhancement of humans.
So like Neuralink?
Well, no, he's asking about, or she was asking if they know anything.
I mean, that could be something simple as like just tech, right?
Well, I guess
kind of nanotech or
she's
something?
talking because she talked about genetics, extraterrestrial genetics being spliced with human DNA, and she said she talked about at the beginning of her question about how there's a rumor floating around that we have, I think she called it like biogenetics or something like that, right? So I think she's legitimately asking, do you have these folk heard about a program where scientists are taking extraterrestrial DNA and trying to splice it with human DNA, which is why it's so wild.
That question is bonkers if it's like cross species genetics, but if it was
That's what it sounds like. That's what she made it sound like.
Yeah, if it was just like human genetics with foreign tech or foreign material, that could be something simple, But yeah, that cross species thing is kind of why I wouldn't even ask that.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, are we creating X mutants in NASA or whatever? Like,
yeah, I tend to agree with you, Ray G.
It's a wild question. It's a wild question.
Jim, to answer your question, I guess currently right now, Gold, he is the chief officer at Redwire. In this role, Mr. Gold leads Redwire's civil, commercial, and national security business development, marketing and communications, and government relations activities. So, again, just another Elizondo. And then prior to joining Redwire, he was NASA's associate administrator for space policy and partnerships. So it sounds like he was working with other nations through NASA. That's how it sounds to me. For space, the partnerships. Like maybe he was. I don't really know exactly what he's dealing with. Acting associate administrator for the Office of International and Interagency Relations. So yeah, it sounds like exactly what I was talking about. That he's probably tasked with meeting with Russia, China, all those other countries, and dealing with space travel in that sense. Yeah.
You had asked him why they picked these guys.
Do what now?
You asked why are these guys here?
Right.
So I would say this is my theory. It is very simple. In all government programs, they require a certain level of oversight, right? Whether that's congressional hearings, secret meetings, or whatever, they require some kind of public acknowledgement and public
witness kind of thing.
Yeah, and so basically, in order to keep this whatever this program is, immaculate constipation or whatever, in order to keep it funded, they have to have these hearings, even though they know it's nothing's gonna. And so what they're gonna do is okay, well, we have to have these hearings. We need to have witnesses. Who are we going to bring on? Well, I don't know. Let's bring on Elizondo, of course, and then let's bring in someone legitimate that like Schellenberger and the other two.
Well,
I think it's just it's just who else are they going to pick? It's always the same guys, right?
To that credit, last time they brought in Fravor, the other pilot, they brought in.
They are also active duty, right?
Right.
Right, but that's kind of my thing. Is if I were to structure this this coverage, I would begin with who are these people and what could they potentially know because of their potential involvement. For me, I don't see these people actually knowing shit. So they're up there answering questions that all five of us could have said the exact same answers as I don't know. No. I'm
Right.
not at liberty to discuss. Like, I don't think these guys know a fucking thing.
Yeah, and given at like everybody said their piece, they knew nothing was going to come of this.
Mhm.
Well, the government oversight for this whatever particular program has been met, and it will continue to get funded in next FY's budget. So here's another 20 billion or whatever.
This was just a formality.
Yeah, I think that's all it was.
Mhm.
Until the day comes, if the day ever comes where someone was like, yeah, I
Hang
saw
on a
something
minute.
land and he's in my house like right now, if you guys want to go see it, you know.
Right. Now,
Then-
were these
then they're
people
gonna be like, oh shit.
subpoenaed, or they were selected, or do we know how these people got chosen to be on this?
I'm pretty sure they were selected and asked to come on. You know, they
Gotcha.
probably have a list of people that they want to talk to.
Yeah.
I doubt it's a volunteer raise your hand situation. You know,
The bigger boy above you, he was there to push a book, but the other ones, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, and I think that we have one more congresswoman I want to go over. The hotter one actually. Let's.
Oh, this is Rob's favorite right here.
Yeah.
Is it Anna?
Yeah.
Luna. Yeah.
Luna. Yeah.
She's so
Uh-huh.
Shoot. Yeah, shoot.
Put up a picture of her.
Yeah. All right.
I don't have it.
Yeah, put up a picture of her.
Yeah, it's important we know who we're listening
Yeah.
to. So
It's
this is
important.
completely research purpose.
Put her in the chat.
Yeah. And just so that you guys know what she looks like.
Yeah, we need to know.
Yeah.
This is for the gram, as the kids say.
Yeah, OnlyFans.
It's important. It's important we have an idea of who we're listening to.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm still here. Just continue. 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 I'm still here.
Sheesh.
Okay,
boy.
that's enough. That's enough of the shenanigans.
Is it
let's
though?
get in-
Wait a minute.
get into the good stuff. You guys can look her up on your own time.
Oh, I will.
What's up, Dave? You looking well today?
Hey, Dave, you take that back.
She's obviously AI generated. That's great.
Oh, we've seen AI
I've actually
generated.
never seen her in person, so that could be true.
Yeah. Let me move this up.
All right.
All right.
Can you name the country and around time frame that the first back in June? Back to your knowledge, can
I'll recognize Ms. Luna for 5 minutes of questioning.
Mr. Elizondo, to your knowledge, can you name the country and around time frame that the first back engineered UAP program started?
Ma'am, unfortunately, I would not be able to have that conversation in public.
Can anyone on the panel name that?
He's just trying to get in a room alone
none
with
of
her.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I would tell you right now
None of
behind
you.
closed doors, lady.
This
Be able to have that conversation in public.
can anyone on the panel name that?
I can't.
None of you. Okay. This next question is for Mr. Gallaudet. To your knowledge, have any USOs ever outpaced our submarines?
Yes, ma'am.
At what magnitude?
I don't have the exact speed, but again, a witness came to me, a credible former submarine officer who observed it on sonar data. And this was in the 80s in the North Atlantic during a storm, and it outpaced his submarine by orders of magnitude.
Are you aware of any hotspots that currently exist off our shores in North America?
Not with sufficiently credible data, ma'am.
Okay, we've heard reports of there potentially being hotspots, maybe entry and exit points. Have you heard of any of that?
I have not, ma'am, but my colleague here, Mr. Elizondo, does discuss some USO activity that he's observed in certain DoD databases.
Mr. Elizondo, in regards to these aircraft being piloted by whatever they might be, non-human biologics, would you agree that it's likely that they are being piloted by some mind-body connection?
Ma'am, I think it is safe to presume here that they are being intelligently controlled because some cases seem to anticipate our maneuvers, and in other cases they seem to I came across an email where the word "stalked" a very secure email between Navy officers discussing their ships being pursued by a UAP.
In our previous panel, we
No,
had Crush.
I want to pause for a second.
That's fine. I'll back it up.
I
That's
want to
a good
say
spot right there.
I want to say, yeah, we could pause it on her, please. How fantastic it is that that she knew to ask that question, like the question she just asked about whether they're controlled, like through mind, kind of a telepathical, like that tells me that she has listened pretty extensively to the Bob Lazar stuff.
Well,
That
yeah,
there are no consoles or anything like that, no integration kind of system. It would seem like they're either remotely controlled drones, or if there's a biological entity in there that is operated by other means.
And I said it before earlier that the hearing itself, the outcome of the hearing was not great in my opinion, in terms of what we got. But I really felt that this second hearing, coming in comparison to the last year's, the Congress people did do their homework and were asking the correct questions. It's just that the people pretty much everyone other than Schellenberger, they just weren't answering it in the proper manner. I mean, even with her first question, or it was with that question, or no, sorry, the previous question she asked to Galadar. I keep forgetting his name. The French guy. He passes it off to my colleague Elizondo. And that's the issue I have is with these quote unquote clean guys that Rob was talking about, right? Like they're the safe bet. And that's really why it was kind of due to. But in terms of the Congress people, they're asking, like, I really felt like they did their homework. They asked. They didn't ask. Go on.
Yeah, they seem genuinely interested. Some of them.
Yeah, that's one thing that I didn't listen to the hearing earlier, but the attention that our representatives are giving this is commendable, and and it maybe some of them felt it may have came off as if they're brushing it to the side. They feel it's a joke, but that question right there, specifically, that showed me that somebody actually wants some specific answers, and there's legitimate intrigue, and people actually care. Our representatives, I mean, actually do care to try to get whatever knowledge we can out of these
Yeah,
whatever.
and I don't want to. I want to be transparent. I selected these clips based off of the Congress people that I felt were asking questions like that. The other guys that were for those who watched it, like they were very bland. They weren't really digging into anything important. These were like, I was shocked by some of the questions, and I mean some of the questions were bonkers, like we've already gone over. Like some of the, how are you supposed to answer those, right? Or like it's so far out. But the fact that they're even asking questions like that, to me, puts a little bit of faith in my
encouraging.
It is encouraging a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna run, guys. I'm
later,
out.
Rob. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Later, man.
Yep.
Have a good one.
See you guys.
Pursued by a UAP.
In our previous panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
Ma'am, I'm not qualified, certainly as a scientist or
Fucking
otherwise,
guy.
to speculate points of origin. I look at everything from a scientific perspective. So if you look at, for example, instantaneous acceleration, which was one of the observables of the program that I belong to, ATIP, the human body can withstand about 9
He's so
G-forces for a
full
short
of
period of
shit,
time before
bro.
you suffer
He's so full
negative
of
biological
shit.
consequences, blackouts, and
Oh
ultimately
my
red months and even death. Comparison.
Never go for a retard.
Yeah, that's all he's doing.
And our best
I knew he was
technology,
scientific.
F-16, which is one of this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying.
It's so hard
The
to
vehicles
listen to this guy.
we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it there. Let me go back to the question she asked.
No,
because he just went on a
all to get to the very last thing he said about how much G-force the things they're finding.
God, Grush, and
yeah, completely.
Being pursued by
say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
Ma'am.
That it's likely that they are being piloted by some mind-body connection.
Ma'am, I think it is safe to.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip past him.
So she basically asked if there was anything that he knew from these things that showed that they were interdimensional beings, and then
Right.
that's the answer he gave.
Yeah, it's he did a whole spiel just to get to G-force and a scientific. Yeah, I mean we know, and it's not a horrible point, but like it's just such a like it's completely irrelevant to what she
So
was
much
asking.
fluff, just a whole
Yeah.
bunch of fluff. Yep.
Yeah, waiting for him to
Round
bust
and
out
round.
with,
Yeah,
he
exactly.
comes
Word
from
salad.
middle class family.
Yeah. Do we have a cackling Kamala thing? Yeah.
Or come across reports from people that claim to have firsthand experiences.
We do.
In reality, that's not true. There are things that live off of chemosynthesis. So we're constantly having to reevaluate our understanding of what the definition of life is.
Do any of you ever come across reports from people that claim to have firsthand experiences with these entities, whatever they might be, or these aircraft, and then as a result, whether or not they're religious, find that these things will automatically disappear? Anyone, and this is open to any of you on the panel. So
He immediately wants to take it. But Jim, that question is a perfect example of what you had brought up a few minutes ago. You know,
Yep.
like she's actually asking legitimate questions that we ourselves ask and talk about, right?
That we're privy to those kind of conversations and possibilities that have been laid out by potential witnesses or whatever it might be.
Well,
Yeah, her and Bobert are both genuinely interested in the topic, though.
Yeah, for sure. And same with Mace, actually, I'd argue, because she did a really good job, the person who's hosting the hearing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, I wanted to reinforce that I was pleasantly surprised at some of the questions that were asked.
Yeah.
You know, I thought they did a really good
Also,
job.
may I point out, Representative Mace is also a looker.
Oh yeah,
And I think
it was good on this one.
I think that, like you were saying though, depending on who comes up to speak at these hearings to testify, if the people asking the questions remain this caliber, I think answers eventually will come in some form or fashion. You know,
for sure.
Perhaps, man. I think it's going to take something. Perhaps like the Doge. I don't want anybody to understate how important this organization is going to be with Elon and Vivek. Vivek going through all these different agencies and such, and not only that, but they've pointed out that they are going to, like, through every step of the process, be transparent about what these agencies do, and post that all on Twitter and expose every little aspect of why they're coming through this system and what's wasteful, what's fraud, what's and if it gets to departments like these and things that are covered up, I mean, I truly think in the next 4 years or so we're gonna observe government transparency like we haven't seen since the dawn of this country.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So
I'm
I'm
here
gonna
for it too, man.
I'm gonna quickly play this question. We'll hear their answers, and then we're gonna move into the meat of this to end out the stream, which is the Immaculate Constellation.
Oh yeah.
Occupants.
Okay. The reason I ask is because it seems like just based on our conversations that we've had people that say that there are good and bad of whatever these things are. And so my concern from a national security perspective is A, that true? B, are you guys hearing reports of that? And C, I think moving forward in regards to technology, Mr. Gold, if you can answer this real quickly, some of these aircraft, it seems that they are operating off of energy that we don't currently have. But just yes or no, in your opinion, if we were able to obtain that, would that impact humanity for the better or negative?
Would certainly save us some money on funding on Artemis.
Definitely.
And this is a national security issue that if there is such technology out there, we're not the only country that might have access to it. We don't want to be on the wrong end of technological surprise.
Okay. Thank you guys for your time.
Okay. Let's filibuster for a second so I can prep the next stream.
I'll tell you, her knowing the questions asked just hits me different.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay, I think I got this one. And then this one might be a little bit more lengthy. Yeah. Screwed up there. But this is it's about a 5-minute video, so stop me at any point when you guys come across something you want to talk about.
All right.
And it kind of starts abruptly, but he's basically explaining what the Schellenberger is explaining what the Immaculate Constellation program is.
However, we now have existing and former U.S. government officials who have told Congress that Aero and the Pentagon have broken the law by not revealing a significant body of information about UAPs, including military intelligence databases that have evidence of their existence as physical craft. One of those individuals is a current or former U.S. government official acting as a UAP whistleblower. This person has written a report. This is the report that says the executive branch has been managing UAP, NHI issues without congressional knowledge, oversight, or authorization for some time, quite possibly decades. Furthermore, these individuals have revealed the name of an active and highly secretive DoD unacknowledged special access program, or USAP. The source of that document told me, that the USAP is a strategic intelligence program that is part of the U.S. military family of longstanding, highly sensitive programs dealing with various aspects of the UAP problem. The new UAP whistleblower claims that the U.S. military and IC database includes videos and images taken using infrared, forward-looking infrared, full-motion video, and still photography. The report that was just shared with Congress says Immaculate Constellation serves as a central or parent USAP that consolidates observations of UAPs by both tasked and untasked collection platforms. Immaculate Constellation includes high-quality imagery intelligence and measurement and signature intelligence of UAPs, the whistleblower's report adds. The sources of this intelligence are a blend of directed and incidental collection capabilities, positioned in low Earth orbit, the upper atmosphere, as well as military and civilian aviation altitudes and maritime environments. The report to Congress details in detail various UAPs, including spheres, orbs, disks, saucers, ovals, triangles, boomerang, arrowhead, and irregular organic. The report describes various incidents found in the human intelligence databases. One involved orbs surrounding and forcing an F-22 out of its patrol area. In another incident, the crew of a Navy aircraft carrier watched a small orange-red sphere rapidly descend from a high altitude of 100 to 200 yards directly above the flight deck of the CVN, or aircraft carrier. And since my reporting on this Immaculate Constellation last month, another source came forward who told me that they saw a roughly 13-minute long, high-definition, full-color video of a white orb UAP coming out of the ocean approximately 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait. It was filmed from a helicopter. Then halfway through the video, the person said the orb is joined by another orb that briefly comes into the frame from the left before rapidly moving again out of the frame. The person discovered the video on SIPR, the Secure Internet Protocol Router Network, which the DoD uses to transmit classified information.
I'll just pause it there. I mean, it's that shit's fucking wild. I'll just flat out say it. He referenced Fravors, the orb looking thing that was flying. I think that was the coast of San Diego, but I don't think I've heard of the one off of Kuwait.
That's new.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that they have that, he's not the only one too that has brought up that there's high definition images and videos, like James Fravor, or not James Fravor, sorry, James Fox. He, like another one that has said, like, I'm sure he's seen stuff too, and just wasn't able to get hands on copies of it, right? But yeah, I mean,
supposedly this immaculate constellation is like the creme de la creme. It's like where all the most classified, most important shit supposedly goes, I guess.
And if anything that we get from this, whether it's tomorrow, a month, a year, 10 years away, I hope we get something from these hearings from this database, right? Like, something solid. It'd be even more wild if at one point these hearings actually play something for the public. I mean, that's probably wishful thinking, but you never know. It could turn into that, right?
Yeah.
A leading UAP researcher who utilizes the Freedom of Information Act to find out what the government knows, John Greenwald, told me last year that the U.S. government had been increasingly denying his request for UAP information. He has been doing FOIA requests for 27 years and has an archive of 3 million pages. The government has for decades denied any interest in UFOs, he told me, but the documents that he has assembled show that behind the scenes, it was a completely different story. Contrary to the hopes of many advocates of transparency, the government has been restricting more information since the leak of 3 UAP videos in 2017. The DoD organization AARO has been labeling many documents with a B7 exemption, which Greenwald says does not make any sense. They're stating that anything AARO does is involved in law enforcement investigation, which allows AARO to not release it. Greenwald says the DoD has denied the existence of a UAP and ATIP-related records on multiple occasions, only to acknowledge them after an appeal was filed. He added that the Naval Air Systems Command in March 2022 stated they found no additional UAP videos. It seems strange that they had 3 and only those 3, but other requests had been filed by the Black Vault, that's John Greenwald's group, to seek out more places UAPs might be hiding. Then in September 2022, the Navy admitted that the UAP-related videos and photographs existed, but denied the request in full for their release, saying that the requested videos contain sensitive information that are classified and exempt from disclosure. The DoD will deny things on a Monday and then admit to it on a Friday, said Greenwald. He said the government can and does release videos that protect secret methods of capturing it. They fall back on the sensitive platform excuse a lot, he said. However, the on-screen information can be blurred and scrubbed. The metadata can be removed. I'll show you this example here. This is a presentation from the UATP task force. This is completely absurd. It's nuts, this level of censorship, of redaction on a document. It shows the redaction of how many reports they've collected, for how many years. 2 of the 3 potential explanations are blacked out. The Pentagon, the intelligence community is treating us like children. It's time for us to know the truth about this. I think that we can handle it.
Damn. I mean, he's look at what he has in front of his desk or in front of him, and then look at Alonzo. He's got a fucking piece of scratch paper.
Yeah. So while you were playing that video, I was watching Gold's facial reactions and Lou's facial reactions.
Right. I was doing the
both
same
time.
thing.
Go back and forth. He's just talking, and Lou, you could see there he was sitting there like he was shaking his head, like he already knows these reports, you know, and he's trying to like be visible. He's like kind of wearing his emotions on his sleeve, right? Where Mr. Gold seems completely fucking lost. He just kind of like listening like we are. You're like, well, they're listening, but yeah, Lou like acts like he's already been trained. Like they're gonna say this, be ready for this. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Like
that's funny you say that, bro, because I did the same exact thing.
dude, we're watching. If you go back, I mean, I don't, I know we don't want to like beat a dead horse, but if you just go back the last minute and a half and watch Lou and Gold and watch how he's reacting as Schellenberg's talking, dude, his facial reactions, it's kind of telling.
Yeah, especially here with
he's
Gold.
intently watching.
Like Lou's like listening. He's like listening for certain things to come up almost.
Right.
Yeah, he's almost like, please don't say this.
he's like, dude, he's probably like, yeah, that's in my book.
Yeah.
Right.
No, so a few things. We need to look into, as a group, we need to look into John Greenwald. I just Googled him real quick. Pretty fucking interesting. I hadn't heard that name prior to the stream.
Yeah.
So that's someone that we should keep on our radar, and we should maybe dig in a little bit more on that. And then on top of that, I want to commend Schellenberger, and he, like, I've seen him on like Rogan podcast a couple times, and I liked what he did with I first knew of him from the Twitter files and that hearing. I never suspected him to kind of dive into the UFO world, honestly. And listening to him from Rogan, I disagree with his politics 100%. Maybe not 100%, but about 85, 90%. And it's not going to.
When was he on Rogan? I don't recall.
Oh, he's been on.
I don't remember either.
Schellenberger?
Yeah, Schellenberger. He's been on at least twice.
I don't think I've caught those episodes.
They're good. He has good conversation with him. He was on about, I think, 3 months ago, maybe. That was his most recent. He has good conversations. He doesn't have like full on PDS, but he's open about being like a liberal in that sense. But he's not one of the psychos. He
seems like a decent. He seems like a really solid journalist though, and
he's not eating the whole sandwich
with integrity.
Exactly, and he's open about being a Democrat and a liberal, but he's like not unwilling to see the faults in certain things.
That, I'll say a lot of people that identify as a liberal cling on to that because it's virtuous to them, right? Even though a lot of the liberal things have left them, they still cling on to that for dear life because it's virtuous to them and their community that they're around. So
and why I even brought that up is because he doesn't and you said the word identify. It's not his whole personality. Being a liberal isn't his personality. His personality is someone that wants to get down to the truth.
But Rogan even does that too. He still clings on to his socially liberal stuff because, like I said, in that community, in that area, that's a virtuous thing to be socially liberal.
And I don't disagree, but what I find an issue with is when it becomes your whole personality is your politics. And that goes for both people that are on the right and the left.
Yeah, as if you would wear a political shirt.
Yeah, it's like I like, you guys know what side of politics I lean on, but I'm not wearing the mask, in that sense, which are plenty of these people do. And this is why I brought it up. Is because even though I disagree, even though I disagree with those politics, I can sit here and commend him for what he's doing for us with the UFO hearings and the Twitter files. He's willing to put his ass on the line. And I wish I had the clip queued. I didn't save it, but again, he talks about how he's willing to go to prison over protecting his sources and holding that integrity. That's commendable. That is the difference between him and the three other people that are sitting next to him.
And those are the type of people it's going to take. And if people are going to come forward, it's going to be to journalists like that
for sure
they can respect. So
yeah,
for sure.
Well, I don't know. It feels like you're about to wrap it, but I have something that we can break down together.
No. I have one
thing today.
I gotta piss like a motherfucker again. Can you guys filibuster? And then I've got one thing that Chris wanted me to play, and then you can take it. Give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So yeah, overall the hearing today, I guess I mean, I don't want to speak for all of us, but it feels like a waste of time. Other than the aspect that we have representatives that actually do want to
Right.
inquire about this stuff, right?
There were a few positives. I mean, but basically it was like a nothing burger. Nothing
Right.
much accomplished.
Yep.
I'm just happy it's moving forward though. At least it's continuing to happen, which is better than nothing. So
It's a step in the right direction, right?
right, yeah.
But I don't know, it just feels, when these happen, it feels like it's just smoke and mirrors.
Right.
And I hate to adopt every Rogan aspect to it, but the guy's got a good head on his shoulders. What can I say? The fact that there's a committee and there's government oversight of this, like, that doesn't help me at all. That, if anything, pushes me in the other direction. Like, oh, okay, UFOs is fake. Like, or ET is not really a thing. This is all a cover up. It's what it screams.
Yeah, I'm just curious. How
Just
did
the
these
level of
hearings
distrust is
even
at a
come
different
about?
level now.
How did these even start? That's
It
what I
started-
was curious about.
It was because a couple years ago, during COVID, when that video, like New York Times dropped that video,
Yep.
they started getting a lot of pushback and stuff, and so
Again,
there's been a lot of people in Congress. I mean, this started actually hasn't been the first time. It just
Stezo, I want to rewind for a second. You said during COVID, the
Right.
New York Times dropped something on this. Again,
Right.
it feels like sleight of hand. Like, no, don't look over here. I got something juicy for you here. Look. That's what it screams to me.
The article, New York Times article, dropped in 2017. But it wasn't until
It didn't blow up.
It started. What's that?
I said it didn't blow up until
It
later.
didn't blow up until COVID, when everybody was at home, and it was actually, but it had been on the table for a while. You guys remember Senator Harry Reid, who since passed away, was he was a big advocate of like pushing for disclosure, and had done a lot of research himself, and he did a lot of work with some of the researchers and stuff. They've got a lot, he was like totally like promoting it and backing it. Like, we're talking like a decade ago. And so it's been going on for a while, but finally they got permission to start working on it. Congress, they're actually during the Trump administration, the tail end, but it didn't start happening until the same Congress and stuff under the Biden administration started wanting to do these things and have disclosure. But that's how it started. But my take on it, even after today, which you guys are all saying it's a nothing burger, and I would agree with that. Like, because if you're just like a standard person that just decided to pay attention to this, that isn't into it like as deep as we are, or doesn't go down rabbit holes, you're probably like, oh wow, But what I'm getting out of this is still, even though it's a nothing burger, not saying that, and I'm not talking about the people like the Congress and all that stuff. There's our government, at least the deep state or the dark portion, they're hiding shit. Like there's
right.
That's the number one thing right there that needs 100%. To be addressed. Is whether it's aliens, whether it's something else, it's not fake. There's something like that. Something's being hidden. It's not transparent. And I get the whole national security thing. Like, I don't want our adversaries knowing about like top secret shit. But like, if there's like beings from another planet and stuff that's coming visit us, that has nothing to do with national security. That's something the UN should be dealing with, and all people of this planet.
Which Stezo,
that's the UN.
Well, just all the people of the world should be dealing with like that. That's like you know what I mean? Like, that's not a US thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what gets me though.
It's a humanity thing.
I was gonna say that's what we were talking about with Rob before. That's why I feel like we have a baseline of a right to know. Like, there's a baseline that we should, a basis that we have a right as a humanity, as citizens, we have a right to know what's going on to a certain extent. You don't have to You don't have to fault or damage the national security risk, but we have a right to know if there's something that the government knows about our existence. I think that's a fundamental right as a human.
Absolutely. I think
that's what I think is really at play here.
A lot of this stuff is combating the elitist thing, like, oh, the public can't handle it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
And Jim, I'd like to actually push back a little bit on. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
The whole smoke and mirrors thing, man. That the only thing that gets me with that is how genuinely interested the representatives and the Congress people are. Like, there may be aspects of it that are smoke and mirrors, but these representatives act like they want to know what's actually going on. You know what I mean? It's to Steve's point that there is bullshit that's being hid from us, and I think they want to know. They want info on it.
Also, I want to push back a little bit on the sleight of hand and argument with dangling a carrot or just deterring from what's going on.
Shiny.
Because look, the whole Doge thing too, it's a little contradictory to say the government is, and I'm not speaking direct to anyone. I'm saying just in general, it's contradictory to say the government is inefficient in certain ways, and then to say that they can just in a heartbeat or in a second, a big election just happened, let's throw them a Congress hearing. This probably was in play for months. I'd even argue 6 to 8.
This was supposed to happen actually.
Exactly.
Earlier this year, it got postponed.
Exactly. To gather, this was in schedule. They had to line up 20 to 30 people just to even get there on time. One of the guys was late during the hearing. That's my biggest pushback on the idea that you're go on.
But to clarify, I'm not talking about this hearing specifically. I'm talking about the timing of this being in the mainstream conversation at large.
The UFO thing in general.
That timing was very convenient.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a lot of it that's they're using to kind of, distract everyone. But how much of it is actual bullshit? How much of it is actually real? You know what I mean? How much of it is actually there's a level. There's levels to it. You know what I mean?
I was speaking to you guys about this before, that there are a certain group of people that are going to see that did see this hearing pop up and say, oh, how convenient that they're doing a hearing right after, the week after a huge election. And just to me, I think that's just a cop out. Like, you can't just.
This was going to happen anyways.
Exactly. That's exactly despite who won. This was planned. It's not something that they can just throw together.
This is bipartisan too.
Stezo nailed it though, bro. Like, whether smoke and mirrors, whatever part of it is bullshit. The fact of the matter is that our government is hiding some high level shit from us,
for
and
sure.
Whether and there's no getting around that. That's pretty much fact.
Yeah, that's the big thing I took from this is that it's like, here's the deal: if aliens are, obviously we know there's phenomenon going on, but if there's no such thing as aliens or all this other shit's not going on, something's going on to the fact that our government is hiding something where they're not being transparent, because it's like, even if they don't 100% know what's going on, there's stuff that's happening that they're hiding. That Arrow report proves the fact that they interviewed, if you watch that doc that Knapp did, all these whistleblowers came forward and they told him the stories that they had told the people from Arrow, and for Arrow to come to the conclusion that, oh, well, we believe you, but we didn't find any conclusive evidence that all this stuff's real. Where's the disconnect? Like, you can't have A and B not equal C. You know what I mean?
And I agree with you. And it's not just nationwide; it's worldwide at this point.
Absolutely.
And frankly, I'm there's zero shame anymore when it comes to this topic. And it's actually like my patience is running out, and I'm getting a little tired of people that are. You don't have to believe in this stuff, but when
you have to acknowledge.
Yeah, when I see people getting put down, or myself being put down for even giving it the time of the day, I start getting a little irritated. I'm like, come on, like I think it's beyond the point where like we can't be called the crazies anymore. Like you have to be crazy not to acknowledge on a worldwide scale. You're seeing multiple governments talking
all
about
those people making fun of you are people that are like 7 times vaccinated. By the way,
They just have
not all of them.
people-
There's conservatives that are.
Oh, you're right.
They're
I know.
just people.
I know.
They're just
My
people with
cousin's
their
on it.
fucking head shoved in the sand. That's all it is.
Yeah.
They don't
Well,
want to acknowledge it.
To me, it comes down. I think it comes down to courage and fear. And right now, it actually takes courage to come out and be outspoken about this stuff. And I'm not going to sit here on a high horse and pretend like I'm better than you are. But that's what I'm getting irritated with is people being like, they're not going to call you dumb, but they're going to pretend like you're an idiot for even
right.
If you're still in that thought process and for entertaining this, like you're. I mean, come on.
Label of conspiracy theorist, right?
Which is kind of the funny, like that's why I'm kind of being proud about it now and just calling my channel Aliens of Conspiracy because it's kind of a joke. I don't think I'm being a conspiracy theorist at all.
If you didn't find out, AOC. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, there's conspiracy behind that, right?
Yeah.
Also on the YouTube front, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.
For sure.
And if you liked it and you know somebody that might also like this conversation, share it.
Please.
Send it to them. There's a little nifty little share button. You can send it to your friends. So do that.
Thank you, Jim. And we're not wrapping up just a second. I looked at the video that Chris had posted in our Discord, and it was overlapping with what I had just played. So go ahead and I see you got something in the background there. If you want to pull that up and you can.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know if y'all have seen this yet, but very interesting shit here. I'm actually going to put us on the side so we can see it better. There we go.
What is this?
Oh, bro, I seen this. It's where the plane disappears.
But wait.
The orbs come out and makes it go.
Is this MH137?
Yeah. Yeah, see, here they come. The orbs start spinning around it.
Yeah, is this the same?
Wait, it gets better. Oh,
yeah, this is the Malaysian flight, right? But wait, there's more.
It just disappears, warps it to someplace else. See, I heard this footage was fucking bullshit, though. There were some VFX artists that broke it down and said it was basically a hoax.
I gotta see.
I don't know. I mean, I guess
I wanted to buy
that. Satellite or what? No, is that taken from some satellite or what? Allegedly, we're done.
I'm not sure.
Dude,
I'm not sure.
You have to dive so far into that. It's supposedly drone footage. Drone footage pulled from.
I mean, that's Tim Pool's thought. I'm not gonna lie about that. Like he brought up the same thing you did, Chris, that some VFX artists and how easy it is to do that. First of all, it's not easy to make that. Like you not anyone can just make a video like that with VFX to make it look like it's thermal, and then also to play around with it. I have very little experience and self-taught with animation, and I mean, I've shown you guys, like, it's hard. Like, you can't, it's not easy to know those softwares to do something. Yep. I couldn't recreate that. I already know that, I'm not going to sit here and say it's fake or real. But that topic itself is.
Dude, it's crazy. I went down a rabbit hole for like 3 fucking days trying when that first came out. And I want to think it's real, man, because the technology sounds fucking crazy, but everything I found pretty much debunked the fucking video.
Yeah, I mean, also we haven't done so are you muted, Jim? I didn't hear you say anything.
Yeah, I just found something that from the hearing today that I enjoyed. Well, didn't enjoy, but listen.
Last year, as you know, he testified that the U.S. has run a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. Would you agree with that?
Good call.
Yes, sir.
Are there UAP programs operating without proper congressional oversight?
100%.
What are they?
Unfortunately, sir, I would have to have that conversation in a closed session.
I know you said that. And a lot of people are frustrated with those kind of answers, but we're asking those kind of questions so you all know.
Chet doesn't give a fuck.
We have a lot more questions, and I hope.
Yeah,
that
he's
this
a
will
badass.
forward to more hearings in the
Yeah, I
future.
like
Oh, I didn't see
I
this
obviously
far.
would like to know how much taxpayers are spending on this. You have the right to know,
Good
but
call.
also if we're spending money on something that doesn't exist, why are we spending the money? And if it doesn't, if it does exist, why are we hiding it from the public?
Last year, as you know.
Okay. Yeah. Undisclosed. That's
Look, she brought up the exact point of like I already know all four of us are tired of spending money where we don't need to spend money on. We are all look at our taxes and want to have more. It's one of the reasons why I like Elon.
well, we discussed national security. So if it is in regards to national security, although I understand that we could want our representatives to at least have oversight, but certain things, have to be completely locked down, hush hush, completely quiet, right? There's operational security that must be followed. But if it's not the case and we're just funding research under the guise of UAP, UFO, which also, can I just say I'm not a fan of this new UAP thing? Let's just fucking call it UFO.
No,
Like,
you know what? I like the rebrand because UFO has such a stigma around it, and UAP. Though I don't like the UAP because actually Hillary Clinton coined that, and fuck Hillary Clinton. But
careful.
I will say, yeah, careful. Stream still up. No, but
listen. Christmas ornaments, drywall, and Jeffrey Epstein. All three things that don't hang themselves.
Specifically on that thought, yeah. Like I see what you're saying. I like the UAP because it kind of offers a little bit of a new. I still tag UFO and I still call them UFOs, but
you're changing the. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. No, regardless though, with that, in terms of the clip you pulled up, the where our money is being spent. I mean, we're paying for those Congress hearings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see them happening at the end of the day.
Yeah, I wish they would vet it to where they weren't a complete waste of time. And not all of them are, and we do get some little tidbits and answers that we might want, but for the most part, I mean, it seems like these four gentlemen today were a complete waste of time. We didn't learn anything new, and we just wasted a hearing when we could be focusing on other things. Yes, I am all for trying to get transparency on these things, and there are claims of recovery programs, and there are claims of biological entities that we possess. But these hearings are not yielding anything of substance to do with that.
So
everybody claims that they can't say, they would have to tell you behind closed doors. Well, then why the fuck are they there? If
You're
they
already
can't
a whistleblower. Why can't you say, you know what I mean?
the people who can answer those questions.
No,
there.
look, and I will we are going to end it pretty soon here. So first one, I 100% wholeheartedly agree with you. If you're in this world, you already heard everything those first people had said.
Yes.
We didn't get anything new out of it. This one, I will have to push back and say Schellenberger, if anything, it was worth it just to have him
he was
literally
definitely the star of the
confirm I mean, Chris, you had mentioned the Immaculate Constellation. I kid you not, maybe a month ago, right? Like,
Right.
You,
Yeah.
you tweeted something about it. You're like,
don't
this is
grasp
crazy.
The significance of that,
huh?
I don't grasp the significance.
Because it was
Everything in my body is screaming significance of the passage of time, but the significance of the whatever constellation.
Because and like, I don't know how often you're checking it, but the significance of it is that like what I was just kind of saying, like Chris had posted this a month ago, and it was kind of a conspiracy theory, not confirmed type of a situation. In Discord, it was a tweet, and we briefly talked about like, oh, this is crazy if this is true, and then a month later, we have a hearing today, and
all about Immaculate Constellation. Yeah.
The exact
and
words
it was like
get brought up.
a fringe topic that it's supposedly the most classified of the most classified type shit.
And it got shed to light. And I even was on the skeptical side when he posted it and kind of looked over it. Like, you hear about this stuff all the time.
I understand that it was brought up before, and now it's brought up in a more dynamic way. But what's the significance of it? Not that now it's being talked about. Why is that
what it's supposed to be? I guess.
Well, because let's back up here for a moment.
Do you have a video on that?
On what?
Do y'all do a video on the Immaculate
No,
Constellation?
we'll probably do. We'll probably do one now. This is the first kind of concrete information. This is kind of going to what I'm arguing for is why it's important. Is that it's finally becoming a little bit more concrete in that sense with Schellenberger, and why I think
concrete or acknowledged, because I think they're different things.
Acknowledged. I'll correct myself there. Acknowledged.
Okay.
And the fact that it's being acknowledged, I think, is important because you've got and why it's not necessarily the topic itself that I find that this one is that this second hearing is separate from the first. It's that we have someone like Schellenberger in place now, someone from the outside who hasn't been in this space, someone that can be held accountable, and someone that has integrity. That's the biggest thing I want people to take away from this is that there's a guy with integrity from the outside, a neutral standpoint, who I don't get the feeling is trying to feed people a perspective. He's simply laying out the information that he was given and that he sought out. And as much as I would like him to give his sources, I know that's not going to happen. But it's a start. And
he's genuinely interested in getting the information out there.
And if you take from 1 to 2 to 2 to 4 and from 4 to 8, and you have that exponential growth, dude, by the 10th hearing, if they last that long, we could be getting actual concrete information and not just acknowledgement. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna take time. It's going to take time for people to build up the confidence to come out once they see that these things are in place for them to come forward and actually shed some info.
Well, it'll go from congressional hearings. If it blows up, it'll go to Senate hearings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you get a Senate Oversight Committee, because they're the ones that approve funding, the Senate Oversight Committees, especially in defense, if they get word that this shit's going on, our money's going into black projects and stuff like that, because the Pentagon, that's one of the things they're going to do too, is things are going to start getting a little bit tight, especially with the budget being out and as much debt we are. That you're going to see a lot of this. Trump's going to go ahead and start slashing budgets, and it's going to piss a lot of people off, including the military-industrial complex. But a lot of these projects and stuff that have been going on for decades are going to start losing their funding, and I know they're going to be unhappy. So they'll have to probably, if they want to keep their funding, they're going to have to be able to be a little more transparent to get some of that money and stuff like that. And the only way to do that is you have to be approved, but to get by Congress to get your money, right?
And so
all the budgets.
I want to end it on this note. You brought up good point, Stizo, and that's the whole why I like Mace so much. The congresswoman who was hosting this hearing. She's
Mhm.
talking about taxpayer dollars being spent on something that the public doesn't know what is being spent on. And I think one of the biggest disconnects we have is because you have taxpayer dollars going to private contracted sources that you can't follow a paper trail on.
Agencies,
And
yeah.
that's why you're not allowed, like Raytheon, what are the other ones? Raytheon,
Lockheed Martin.
Lockheed Martin,
Boeing,
and
Vanguard.
Boeing. So and this is for right now conspiracy theory, but 5 years down the line, this could be completely truth. And that our taxpayer dollars are going to these privately funded contractors. And that's why no one's talking, is because we as a nation can't track where this money is going.
Right.
And maybe that's why all
shit.
this back. And again, for right now, this is all conspiracy, right? But at the end of the day, I think I'm not far off.
No,
I think
yeah, I'm with you on
Could
that.
be, man. Could be. I just look forward to the day that these hearings withhold some substance. Again, if these people that we are bringing in front of our representatives cannot yield answers that
I think it gets better.
Cannot yield answers.
I think so too.
Then perhaps we need to get the people that can, and
right.
I
agree.
I agree.
It's a waste of time otherwise. If we
As long as we have the same people asking the questions, I think it will be all right.
Yeah,
if we can get right people.
I don't have any problem with the questions being asked. I have an issue with the people answering them because they're not at liberty to answer them. Well, let's get somebody who fucking is.
Yep.
Or
again, this dissatisfaction, they are public servants. The dissatisfaction that we as the taxpayers have, as long as we keep showing that and we get the exponential growth I was talking about, it will pay off eventually. We have to keep in mind, not everyone is like us, where we're tuned in, locked into this shit, constantly looking at it. Not everyone's like that. When we can get more people on board, and
right,
100%,
and we see the exponential growth. Again, I think
just got to keep going with it.
Well, we have congressmen and women on our side, so that's good.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
good.
So look, I'm going to end it here because we could probably keep talking. But I think we did.
Tonight.
I think we did a fucking great job. I appreciate you guys for sticking through it. I appreciate whoever is still here in chat. Cheers.
Yep. Cheers, guys.
It's always
fun.
I will just be transparent since we're on this topic. The weekly streams probably not a thing right now. I'm gonna try to get them out every bi-weekly, maybe every 2
current
weeks.
event oriented, right? Like it's
just also give us time to
do
do it correctly. Be passionate about what we're going to talk about. That's really
And
the big thing.
If you enjoy listening to us, there's a little bell next to the subscribe button.
Ding it.
It will notify you when we're going to go live. So hit that bell.
Schedules get tight going into the holidays,
Exactly. So I don't want to sit here and say see you next week because it might not happen.
Yeah.
But,
Texas A&M is very much so in the hunt. So
we could probably get some videos out. We could probably
videos.
out.
Keep your eyes for videos. We're going to be recording this week. We're gonna start uploading a little bit more on that. The stream thing is not going to happen as often as it used to. I appreciate everyone though for coming by tonight. Please, while the football season's going, go subscribe to Star Wars Dog. Steezo and Chris, I know you guys don't have, this is the channel that we're on right now, but I appreciate you guys and
stay tuned for them.
Yeah, exactly. And again, thank you all for showing up, and I hope everyone has a great night. Good night.
Later, guys.
God bless.
No. Okay.
求求菩萨帮我，求求